My cousin swiped $12,000 from our grandmother and pointed the finger at me. My entire family bought his story until I laid bare the truth in court 3 years later. I never imagined my own kin would betray me over cash, especially not when it belonged to the one person who loved us both without conditions. Grief, I suppose, reveals people's true colors, and my family's colors. They were far uglier than I'd ever pictured. Before all this, we were what you'd call a close-knit bunch, or at least, that's the image we projected. Thanksgiving at Aunt Corinne's, Memorial Day cookouts in Uncle Tom's backyard, annual trips to Lake Michigan every summer. From the outside, we looked like a glossy family straight out of a sentimental TV movie. But peer a little closer, and you'd spot the fractures. You'd notice how Aunt Corinne always set her son Dylan and me up for comparison. Look how sharp Dylan looks, maybe you should take notes. Or Dylan landed another award. What's your plan, Ethan? You'd see how she ruled every family event like a monarch with a cheap tiara and a wineglass that never ran dry. You'd catch the way my mom and her younger sister forced tight smiles at Corinne's jabs, as if they were holding the family together with bated breath and balled-up fists. And then there was Grandma Alina, our rock, our shield, the only one who saw through the small-mindedness and still loved everyone despite it. She was the kind of woman who made Sunday suppers feel holy, who had a way of making you feel seen, even when the world treated you like a whisper. She was my biggest champion, especially after my dad left when I was 13. She'd show up to my school plays, help me snag second-hand blazers for job interviews, slide me a few bucks when she knew Mom was too stubborn to ask for help. She never missed a birthday, never forgot a milestone. When she fell ill, I was the one who took leave from work to care for her. Dylan didn't even visit her in the hospital until her 4th week of treatment. Too tied up with his career, he claimed, but guess who got the biggest chunk of her estate? Let me rewind a bit. Grandma passed in April 2020. It wasn't sudden. We'd been stealing ourselves since late 2019, but that didn't dull the pain. COVID was just starting to shut things down, and her funeral was a quiet graveside affair with masks and clumsy elbow taps instead of embraces. I gave the eulogy, barely holding it together without breaking down. Dylan arrived late, sporting shades and a flashy watch. He threw me a bro hug I didn't reciprocate, acting like we were still kids sharing a room at Grandma's lakeside cabin. But the moment she was laid to rest, something changed. The murmurs started. 2 weeks later, Aunt Corinne called me. "You need to give the money back, Ethan." I thought she was kidding. "What money?" She let out a sharp, patronizing sigh. "Don't act clueless. We know you accessed Grandma's estate account. The trustee says $12,000 is gone and the bank records point to you." I laughed because it was that ridiculous. "Are you serious? This isn't a joke," she snapped. "This is felony theft, Ethan. Your grandmother's legacy, you should be ashamed." I was floored, speechless. It felt like I'd stepped into a nightmare watching it unfold from someone else's skin. "I didn't touch her money," I said slowly, like I was spelling it out for a toddler. "Then explain the wire transfer." "What wire transfer?" Corinne hung up without a word. Within an hour, my phone lit up with messages from cousins, aunts, even Mom. "How could you do this to Grandma? Return the money before we take legal action. Don't show your face at Christmas." I tried calling. No one answered. I went to Mom's place. She wouldn't even crack the door. "I can't believe you'd betray your own family," she said through the peephole. "Just leave." Just like that, I was the family outcast. I kept waiting for someone to ask my side, to give me a shred of doubt, to say, "This doesn't sound like Ethan. He was there for Grandma." But no one did. Dylan, meanwhile, went ghost. No calls, no texts, no pretense of checking in. And somehow no one found that odd, so I did what any wrongly accused person would do. I requested the estate's financial records from the lawyer, tracked every transaction, and started following the digital trail of that $12,000. What I uncovered sent chills down my spine. The estate lawyer sent me a stack of final disbursement records and wire transfer logs. I don't think he expected me to pore over every detail, but I did. I was desperate. There it was, a $12,000 transfer, sent 5 days after Grandma's passing, authorized by a digital signature that wasn't mine, from a local IP address that, when I ran it through a friend's tech software, traced back to an apartment building in Skokie. Not my address, but Dylan's. I stared at the screen for what felt like forever. Then I dug through my messages, finding the one stiff selfie he'd sent the family from his new place in Skokie he was so proud of. I cross-checked the date of that post with the transfer date. It was 3 days after he moved in. He'd taken the money after settling in and used Grandma's name and estate login to greenlight it. Here's the twist. Dylan had a finance degree. He'd interned at a wealth management firm downtown. He knew the ins and outs of estate disbursements. He knew how to cover his tracks. He thought no one would catch it. And when someone did, he pinned it on me. At first, I wanted to storm his apartment and shove the proof in his smug face. I wanted to knock that shiny watch off his wrist. I wanted to scream at Aunt Corinne, make her swallow every cutting word she'd thrown at me. But I didn't, because I realized something. They wanted a villain. Dylan handed them one. They never paused to question if it was true. So fine. Let them think I'm the bad guy for now. Let them stew in it. Instead of exploding, I went silent, muted. I didn't reply to texts, didn't defend myself. I moved into a cheaper place, worked 2 jobs, retail by day, delivery at night. I even skipped Christmas and Thanksgiving that year. No tense dinners, no cold stares across the table, no Aunt Karen whispering crocodile tears. But every free moment I had, I documented. I built spreadsheets, printed IP logs, highlighted account authorizations, pulled public LinkedIn updates, and saved screenshots of Dylan's social media flaunting his sleek condo and remote consulting gig. Because you know what they say, evidence speaks louder than words, and I wasn't just aiming to clear my name. I was going to take him down. It took 9 months to gather everything. I met with a legal aid clinic downtown and found a fresh-out-of-law school attorney eager for a case. When I showed him my files, he blinked like I'd handed him a crime novel. "Ethan, this is theft. Clear-cut fraud. You can absolutely take this to court. But can I win?" He looked at me dead serious. "You can do more than win. You can end him." I filed a civil suit for fraudulent misrepresentation and financial damages. I didn't tell a soul, not Mom, not my siblings, definitely not Aunt Karen. The subpoena landed at Dylan's condo like a grenade on a Wednesday morning in late May. Aunt Karen called me hours later, frantic. "What are you doing, Ethan?" I was at work, stepping into the break room. "Filing a lawsuit," I said calmly. "What's it look like? You're destroying this family?" "No, Dylan did that. I'm just shining a light on it." She hung up. Classic. Dylan got a lawyer, naturally. A slick one, fancy suit, big talk. They tried to spin it as a mix-up, claiming Grandma might have meant to give him the money or mentioned it offhand. But I had the receipts, the forged signature, the IP logs, the timestamps, the cocky Instagram post of him buying a new sound system the day after the money hit his account. It took 4 court sessions for the truth to unravel. Watching Dylan squirm on the stand, I won't lie, it felt satisfying. He looked like a cornered kid, not the polished golden boy. The judge ruled in my favor. Dylan was ordered to repay the $12,000 plus interest and legal fees. The court called it deliberate fraud with intent, which meant it would stick to his record forever. But that wasn't the end. Once word spread, the family started talking and the full picture came into view. Dylan had borrowed money from at least 4 other relatives over the years, cash that never reappeared. The murmurs grew louder. Aunt Karen's reputation tanked. She tried to host a family meeting to rewrite the story. No one showed up. Mom finally called. "I'm sorry," she said, voice breaking. "I should have trusted you." I didn't respond. Apologies don't rebuild burned bridges, especially ones you torched yourself. People like Aunt Karen think consequences don't apply to them. Even after the court ruling, even after Dylan was publicly shamed and ordered to pay up, even after my name was cleared, and the judge explicitly said I'd never touched Grandma's accounts, Karen still acted like I was the issue. "We shouldn't have dragged family matters into court," she told Mom. "Ethan should have come to us." "Come to you? After you shut me out, called me a crook, turned everyone against me?" "Sure, but she wasn't after peace. She wanted control. And with her perfect son's shine gone, she needed a new scapegoat. Too bad I wasn't the same person I was 3 years ago. I'd spent those years grinding double shifts, scraping by, piecing my self-respect back together. I'd sat alone on birthdays, eaten frozen meals on Christmas Eve, watched life move on without me while they all believed I'd stolen from a dying woman. You don't survive that and stay soft. When Mom relayed Karen's plea to move past it for family, I gave a short answer. "No," she called that night. "Ethan, honey, I just think, don't honey me." Long pause. "Then your grandmother would have wanted unity." That made me laugh, because if Grandma were here, she'd have whacked Karen with her purse and handed me a slice of cake while doing it. She'd also want people to stop stealing her money, I said evenly. "What do you want, Karen?" Her voice broke. She said Dylan hadn't paid a cent yet. He'd lost his job after the ruling. His name in Chicago's finance circles was ruined. No one wants a fraudster with a public judgment. Who'd have thought? Worse, she'd co-signed his lease, his car, his private loans. She was drowning, and she wanted me to forgive the debt, to call it a misunderstanding, let Dylan off so he could start over. I nearly laughed my phone off the table. "You want me, the guy you shunned, slandered, and framed, to fix the mess your son made after he ruined my life? You're not being fair," she snapped. "No, Karen, I'm being exact. Big difference." She started crying. Real tears or just louder ones, I didn't know. Didn't care. All I could think of was the night I ate ramen alone in a basement apartment while they carved turkey and sipped wine, gossiping about how I'd let them down. Let her cry, she hung up saying, "You'll regret this." The only thing I regretted was not cutting them off sooner. Over the next few months, it all fell apart. Dylan defaulted on the repayment plan. His wages were garnished. He had to ditch his lease and move back in with Karen, who'd burned through her savings trying to bail him out. She sold her house. Meanwhile, I was doing well. I got a promotion at work, had health insurance again, and started dating someone I could see a future with. She didn't know the whole story yet, but she knew enough, and she believed me. I even reconnected with my younger sister, Lily, the only one who reached out after the ruling, saying, "I always felt it wasn't true." We grabbed coffee, talked for hours, laughed like we used to. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. One evening, I found a handwritten note on my doorstep from Dylan. No envelope, just creased paper with scrawled handwriting I hadn't seen since we were kids. I know you'll never believe me, but I'm sorry. I panicked. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I needed the cash. When Mom found out, she said you'd be the easiest to blame. I never thought it'd spiral like this. I'm sorry. I read it 3 times. Then I burned it in the kitchen sink, watching the ashes spiral down the drain. Because sometimes closure isn't about forgiving. It's about knowing the truth and walking away anyway. I thought that was the end of it. After the lawsuit, the public humiliation, Dylan's apology scribbled in pen on tattered paper, I believed that part of my life was over. Then Aunt Karen got sick. Stage 3 ovarian cancer, aggressive. Lily told me she'd been checking on Karen now and then because that's Lily too kind for her own good. She's not herself, Lily said quietly over coffee. She talks about Grandma a lot. Says she regrets how it all went. I didn't answer, just stirred my latte and watched the foam swirl. A week later, Lily texted, "Karen's asking if you'll visit just once. She wants to talk." I stared at the message for ages. Then I silenced my phone and didn't reply, because I didn't know what I owed her. Closure, forgiveness, a final meeting, or nothing at all. 3 months later, she passed. The funeral was small, closed casket. Dylan gave the eulogy. I didn't attend. Lily did, and she said it was strained. Half the family didn't show, and the other half seemed like shadows. Dylan cried, but few bought it. A week after, Karen's lawyer called. She'd left me something in her will. I almost didn't go, but curiosity pulls you into places you swore you'd never return to. I met the lawyer in a cramped downtown office. He was a quiet man in his 60s with weary eyes and yellowed fingers. He handed me a sealed envelope. "She wrote it herself," he said. "We didn't open it." I took it home, sat with it for an hour before tearing it open. The letter was brief, her handwriting careful. "Ethan, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I won't ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know I saw it finally. What I allowed, what I pushed. You were never the bad guy. You were the one I used, because facing what my son did, it broke me. I hope you build a life so vibrant, so full, that no one can ever dim your light. Grandma was proud of you. She told me once when you weren't there. I didn't want to hear it, but she was right. I left you something of hers, something I should have given you long ago. I'm sorry." Karen, folded inside, was Grandma's necklace, the silver one she wore every Sunday, etched with her grandchildren's initials. Inside, a tiny photo of me as a kid on one side, and on the other, one of Grandma and me together. I didn't even know that photo existed. I stared at it for a long time, didn't cry, just sat, letting the weight of it all sink into the quiet. That night, I visited Grandma's grave for the first time in years. It was a chilly April evening, windy and gray. I brought the necklace and a single white rose, her favorite. I stood there and said everything I couldn't when they cast me out and dragged my name through the mud. All the times I needed her voice, and it was gone. All the nights I cursed the silence, wishing just one person had trusted me. "I made it, Grandma," I said softly. "Not because of them, despite them." I set the necklace on her headstone for a moment, then I slipped it into my jacket and walked away. That was a year ago. Today, I run my own financial advisory firm, built from the ground up with friends who believed in me when no one else did. We help nonprofits and small businesses, people chewed up by the big players. Dylan. Last I heard, he moved to Texas, took a call center job, filed for bankruptcy 6 months after Karen's death. Still has a fraud judgment on his record. Still blames messy family drama. I don't care. I've found peace. I don't need vengeance. I don't need apologies. I don't even need anyone to admit they were wrong. I have my name back. I have my pride. And I've learned something. Family isn't blood. It's not who shares your last name. It's who shows up when your world's in flames and says, "I'll sit with you in the ruins." So to anyone who's been betrayed by the people meant to love them most, you're not alone, and you will rise even if you have to rebuild from nothing.